on a Friday night from a phone. How are you doing? Welcome to the show. It's good to be here. Good to be around all you nice folks who aren't here yet. It's just me. That's all right. I'm quite okay with it. I'm going to drink Mountain Dew. Mm. They'll be here directly. Got my Panther shirt on. I don't even know what that is. I think it's a sports thing. I don't know. Not into sports. Got a big weekend planned. Got rehearsal was last night. I got 2 shows this weekend. And I will not be here on the podcast on Sunday night because that's one of the shows. I will be here Monday night as prescribed. That's just the way it is, folks. Gotta miss a day because I gotta make that money. If I don't make that money, I don't have nothing. Bike is still running. Got that going pretty good. Still have some work to do to it, but it's pretty much on the road. And what else? My kittens are vicious monsters. Woke up this morning and went outside, and there was a dead rat in front of the door, and 4 kittens surrounding it, looking at it, not messing with it, not eating it, just looking at it. It's kind of strange. They're like murderers. Cats are murderers. You should know that if you have a cat. You think, oh, my sweet little kitty's always right there at the refrigerator when I put the food down. If you die, that cat will eat you. Okay? Just saying. It'll live in your corpse. It'll waller around in your blood and eat your flesh. Cats are murderers. They're not pets. You do not have it trained. It's got its eye on you. That's why my cats are outside the locked front door. They don't have opposable thumbs. I've got them in that area. Gotta watch out for those cats. Ugh. Hold on, work calls. Well, that's one show this weekend. I might be here Monday or Sunday. Apparently, it got moved. And I'm just now finding out about it the night before. It happens. Oh, well. C'est la vie. I hope I'm not already booked on that date. I'll have to look later into my calendar and make sure. Got moved to the 22nd. I'll have to look, see if I'm already booked or not. And if so, they're going to have to do some rescheduling because when I give my word, it's my word. It's done. I'm going to be where I said I was going to be. Not go back on my word. In this business, you got 2 things. You got youth and you've got your word. If you don't have either one of those, you don't make it in this business. As you can see, I've lost the youth portion of that equation. So my word is the only thing keeping me in the game. Oh, well. I'll check back with them later. Right now, I'm podcasting. Where is everybody? Oh, Caucasian Sasquatch. Looks like he's on his channel with a guest. That's why he's not here. Makes perfect sense. Well, it's a Friday night and all is right. Not one person. I'll stay here till 10 minutes after the hour. If no one has showed up, I will try again tomorrow. Boo, 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 boo. I watched a new episode of Strange New Worlds, the second episode of the series. It isn't getting better, folks. It's getting worse. They shot their wad on episode 1 and it wasn't good enough. Episode 2, nothing but Mary Sue all the way. If you don't know what Mary Sue is, do a little research. You'll find out quickly what Mary Sue is. Just type in the phrase and something will pop up and tell you what it is. I don't want to discuss it because I don't like it. I don't like shows that use that type of mentality. Basically, they prop up a woman to be great at everything. And then they degrade everyone else around her so that she appears to be great at everything. And everyone else around her that they're degrading are straight white men. I don't like that. That's not humanism. That's not humanitarianism. That's not even nice. So why do they do it? Because Hollywood is sick. That's why. They can't help themselves. I am going to do a series about it, I think, where I expose Hollywood among many other people that are doing the exact same thing, but where I'm going to point out their idiosyncrasies and why they do what they do. It'll make you think twice about being a movie star, I'll tell you that. The biggest reason I quote unquote failed in the music business, now you have to understand, I got so close to fame that I could taste it. I was right at it. I was being billed on the same board with famous people. I was right there. And then I just stopped. I didn't quit. I just stopped pushing, just rode the wave. The reason I did that, among many other reasons, the main reason was because the price was higher than I wanted to pay for fame. You get to a certain place in life, and some people are lucky enough to reach that plateau, and then they're presented with a proposition. You can have what you're seeking, but you're going to have to give something up to get it. Can't have everything. So the nature is you make a sacrifice and then you get the fame that you're looking for. That sacrifice, however, is greater than you're willing to pay, unless you're willing to pay it. And then some people want fame so bad they'll pay anything. They'll give up anything. I'm not that guy. So when I was presented with that, I turned it down, and then I didn't get any further. And that's just the way the game works. You can believe that or let it alone. You go to Hollywood and look up the number of people who, per se, have a death in the family right before they become famous. And the number is staggering. Now you'll say, well, everybody dies. Everybody's been dying. That's a coincidence. Yeah, but they don't die right at the precipice of fame every single time. So it could be a coincidence, but it's unusual because they're not like died of cancer, died of old age. They're like died of being stabbed in their home by some mysterious guy that never got caught. That kind of thing. I was standing at the door, knocking on the door while she was getting murdered, says somebody. I forget who it was. I think it was Keanu Reeves or one of those famous actors. Was knocking on the door when his girlfriend was getting murdered on the other side of the door. He looked through the window and saw the blood on the floor and thought she spilled wine. That's what he said to the doctor. I mean, to the cops. That don't sound feasible in my book. I don't think it was Keanu Reeves. It might have been Ashton Kutcher or one of those pretty boys from Hollywood. Anyway, look it up. You'll find it. People like Jim Carrey. His girlfriend was murdered. George Clooney, wife died. Things like that. You just keep looking and looking and looking, and you'll find all these different things where Strange things occur to people right before they get famous. I don't want to pay that price. And I don't think it's that they, per se, kill their loved ones or give up their life, but they give up a piece of themselves, and that invites bad into their life. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. Then you add that on top of the fact that their career is built on rejection. Some of the most beautiful people in the world are in California. They're all beautiful. They're all obsessed with beauty. And then they build their life around being picked, being selected, being chosen out of a group of other people who all get rejected. So they get rejected 100 times to once they get selected for a part. So basically their whole life is being turned down for something they really, really want over and over and over again. You think that won't put a dent in your self-image? Till pretty soon you start walking the walk and talking the talk and saying whatever you need to say, to where some casting director says, well, who are you voting for? Well, you already know the answer, whoever they're voting for, because if you vote opposite, you don't get the job. So you tell whatever you got to tell, you say whatever you got to say. Pretty soon that eats away at your soul until you're nothing. You're an empty shell waiting for somebody to reject you. And that's everyday life there. All super obsessed with themselves, because when you're an actor, you have to look inward. You have to change your appearance. You have to change your personality to fit a part. So you're always looking at yourself as if through a camera, looking back at you. Hey, April, what's happening, darling? Giving a referendum on Hollywood tonight. I think that's what we're talking about. Anyway, that's what it means to be a star. To be a star, you have to be an empty shell, degraded to nothing, so that they can make you what they want you to be. They being whoever's in charge of whatever it is you're doing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm talking about Hollywood and people who exist there, and how you get to be one of those people. Hey, Laura, how are you? Welcome to the show. I thought you guys weren't going to show up for a minute. I was getting ready to cut the camera off. Oh, I'll write it in. You can go back and catch the first part. You'll understand. Anyway, sometimes, yes, they are shapeshifters. They're people who lie for a living. They're professional liars. That's what an actor is. It's not that different on the stages that I play on. I'm an actor too. When I go out on stage, I put on a character just like I would if I were in a movie. It's the same thing. The difference is the price you pay to get what you want. Like I said earlier, I was right at the precipice of it myself. I got right up to the edge of fame. I got so close to it, I could smell it. I could taste it. I could feel it on my skin, but I never got over that line. And the reason I never got over that line is because I wasn't willing to pay the price it takes to get over that line. When you get there, you're presented with a choice. Do this and you'll get famous. And that you do is usually ripping away a piece of yourself. And that invites all kinds of bad into your life. I chose to not do that. In my case, it was give up your band and we'll put you on the road. I felt like that was a betrayal of what I was chosen to do and the people that helped me get to where I was at. So I refused to do it. Well, needless to say, that's when the phone stopped ringing. That's the way it is. So be it. I'm happy with that choice. I didn't sell my soul. I'm not willing to sell my soul, which means I'll never be famous. I didn't want it that bad. There are people out there that would give up their mother to be famous. There are people out there that would sell their soul and everything else they have, that would sell your soul to get famous, because that's all they can think about. It's all, they've been obsessed with it from childhood. And it's because they believe that being famous means that you don't no longer have to struggle. They believe that being famous means that you get everything handed to you on a silver platter. It's not what it means. Famous people are some of the most hollow people I've ever seen in my life. They're the most empty, the most lacking in personality, the most completely incapable people that I've ever seen. But they play a good part. I mean, they read other people's words magnificently. They don't have any of their own, but they read other people's words great. That's why they're actors. The problem is you watch somebody on a 30-foot silver screen long enough, you begin to start thinking they actually know what they're talking about. They play enough smart people, like Leonard Nimoy, the guy that played Spock. There's not a person that's ever met him that thinks he's less than a genius. He's probably not very smart at all. But he played Spock for like 60 years. So the guy's got to be brilliant, right? He talks brilliant. He's got a good game. He attended Shakespearean plays. He was his tutelage was in the playwright. So surely he's an intelligent guy. And he may be. I don't think so. I think anybody that makes a living out of reading other people's words probably don't have a lot going on up here, because it tends to conflict with what other people think. So that being said, do you really want to be famous? Do you know what it means to be famous? Do you know what you give up when you become famous? You give up family, for one thing. You give up privacy. You can forget about privacy. You can forget about self-worth. I think that's why they had the 27 Club. And look at Elvis, Prince, Bowie, Whitney, and all. They are in their 40s. Well, people die because look, to function on the level that Elvis functioned on, you have to understand that an athlete, a pro football player, could not keep up with Elvis. That son of a bitch was doing 3-4 shows a day for years. All of his energy went out into the stage. All of it. So much so that it was probably eating away at his life. He probably wouldn't have lived very long anyway. You cannot do that job without, at some point, relying on some other kind of medication to get you through it. You can't do it. That's why drugs is involved. That's why they all get on drugs, because you can't keep it up. You can't have that kind of energy. Same thing in the movie business. I mean, there's different reasons, but it's the same principle. No, it's not about time. It's about giving up your life force, Hold on a second. That's work. I'll be right back with you in just a second. All right. Sorry about that. That was my job. Got a show tomorrow night. I was just checking in to see when I was going to be there. No, it's about giving up your life force. You spend all that energy putting out this creativity that's in you, and you're giving it out, and the audience is feeding off of your psychic energy. And I know for a fact that that's a real thing, because I felt it. I know what it's like to connect with a group of people. It's like mass hypnosis almost. I can bend them to my will at some point. You have to get there. I mean, you don't just start off that way. You have to work your way into that kind of thing. But it is a thing. People that have been with me have seen it happen. They know it happens. You kind of swell into something other than yourself. Well, when you do that, it takes away from your life. It pulls your soul. It's part of your soul leaving you. That's what you're giving to the other people. That's why they feel it. That doesn't do well for living a long life, Hey, yeah, smash that like button, please. Before now. Oh, it went away. Or at the end. Thanks. Much love. Thank you, April. Appreciate it. There is something to say about all the stars dying young. There is something to that because they are in a precarious situation. First of all, they're vastly unguarded. There's predators everywhere trying to pick at them and take from them, get a little piece of their money, get a little piece of their talent. Everywhere, predators all around. But that'll take away from your life too. Just people sucking from you. Everybody wants something. There's nobody that likes you just because you're you. They like you because of your influence or your status or your money or whatever, your beauty, whatever it is. That's why they're there. They want a piece of that. That'll just drain the life right out of you. And pretty soon, pop a pill, you feel pretty good. You know, do a line. There you go. I got energy again. Just can't bring myself to get up and go do it again. Here, take this. All right, we're ready to go. After a while, it becomes a habit. Yeah, I do know. You were punching a time clock, working, being a mom, going out and doing gigs, same days. Well, yeah, a little before mine, but you were doing it. Yep. It was hard. Then you got to make time for practice every day because if you don't practice, you don't get good at it. That's right. It's got to be your whole life. You can't have another life. You can't straddle the fence. You have to be one or the other. When you become an entertainer, you make a choice to become that thing. That means you give up the normal thing. You can't have the normal thing. You can't have a white picket fence and a house on a hill and 2.5 kids and a Cadillac. You can't have that because you're doing this thing. You live this lifestyle. Well, once you get on that side of the fence, sometimes for some people, they realize they don't like it very much. That ain't exactly what they thought it was. That the glitz and the glamour of it, which only lasts for a few minutes, by the way, isn't enough to make up for what you've lost to get that glitz and glamour. Out of all the shows I've ever done, I don't even remember the glitz and glamour part of it because it was insignificant. I remember setting up, tearing down, and sweating and dodging crazy people and driving for long hours. And, I remember that sort of stuff. I remember all the prep to get to play those shows, the endless meetings and shaking hands and kissing babies and politicking and begging for audiences and that sort of thing. I don't remember the glitz and glamour because that's not why I was doing it. I was doing it because I love the music. A lot of people think that glitz and glamour is all that there is. That's the way your life will be when you get there. No, that's the facade to all the hard work that you do. That's what everybody else sees. Yep. Well, the difference between what I do and what Hollywood does, and it's not really a difference because it happens in my field also, just not nearly as much, is the rejection part of it. To be an actor, you have to audition for parts. It means you go in a little dank room with somebody that's not affiliated with the director, whom has no value whatsoever, judging you to see if you're worthy of the part, if you got enough body weight, or if you got the right color of hair. I mean, they're always nitpicking you. You're too fat. You're too tall. You're not quite right for the part. You don't have a good enough personality. Your tits are too small. Whatever. That eats at a person after a while. You basically got a state in the United States that is full of sociopaths. People who have broken emotional systems, broken hearts, broken minds, and super inflated self egos. And you think it's not going to cause a problem at some point? You're a solid A cup. Bravo. Well, believe it or not, there are men out there that like that. Not everybody likes big titties. Nobody in Hollywood, apparently, but anyway, I didn't have a band. I had Joe and my background speakers, and Joe set it up to go. Joe, hooray. I love him for that. He was so great. I appreciated him a lot. And Mama, they're my hero. They should be. They did a lot for you. They sacrificed a lot. They spent a lot of money. They worked hard to get you where you were trying to go. Whatever reason you didn't get there, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I can tell you everybody was pulling for you. I adversely only had my mama take pictures of me. She came to a lot of my shows. She did support me in that way that she knew how, but she didn't go out of her way to help me get there. I had basically had to do all that by myself, but that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. He done derailed my train now. What was I saying? So you've got all these degenerate people in Hollywood that have no actual sense of self-worth. They don't know what their value is. They don't know what they're good at. They train for everything. They know a little bit about everything because they pretend to be that in a movie sometime. And then you release those people into the world, and then they start talking, and then you give them Twitter. So now they can connect to people directly. Whereas before there was a 10-foot wall between people and stars. You could only admire them from a distance. Now they're right in your face. Now they can tweet you directly and share their crazy, unsophisticated ideas with the world directly. And that's why the influence happens, because people think Brad Pitt just said so-and-so. I believe that. And now you've got another ideology out there. It's not good, folks. Twitter, Facebook, that whole social media experiment is not good. It's a soul suck. It's a time suck. It makes you stop thinking rational thoughts. You think in short little quips. You think in short little beats. Get the next like. Get the next dopamine hit. Has nothing to do with reality. So what you do, this is social media. I know. You think that's lost on me, Snark? I know. I'm contributing to the problem because that's all there is to do. Little Shop of Horrors, the original, is now public domain. Really interesting. This isn't good for the soul either, but it's what I do. So I have to shave an inch off somewhere. Welcome to the show, Snark, by the way. Didn't see you come in. So anyway, all of these things contribute to the larger thing that's going on in the world. All of these different sects of society that are bitterly battling each other for whatever reason. And you ask yourself, what in the hell is going on? Where did rational thought go? Why can't we just talk to each other instead of fighting and hating on each other? It's bigger than that. This has been being designed for the last 50 years. It's not a new thing. It's been in the works for a long time. And people have grown up watching TV, which is not good for the soul either. So much so, there's a lot of people out there that like binge watch and spend way too long in front of a television. Then they start believing the things they see all the time, start believing in the tropes that are used in television. Would you believe? I'll give you an example of this. It has never once ever happened in reality where someone has talked a plane down from the tower to someone in the cockpit who's not a pilot, though you've seen that on TV 1,000 times. million times. It's never happened in reality. In reality, when they try that, the plane crashes. You understand? Video games too, but more so TV. Because video games, you go in knowing it's fantasy. You're playing a game. It's built into the name. It's a game. It's not reality. TV is ever and ever more closely resembling reality. I'll give you an example of that. In the 60s on Star Trek, they had little colored cubes that represented food because they're in the future. So they don't eat food anymore. They eat little pill-shaped, colored things. In Star Trek that's being made today, they have filet mignon and ribs, not the little clay cubes that they used to pretend was food. Because when it first started, it was a fantasy. Now it's mirroring reality. If you do that long enough, it's only inevitable that somebody's going to buy into it. Yes, you grew up thinking you'd have to survive quicksand. That's right, Snark. Guess how many to date number of people have died in quicksand? The answer is 0. No one has ever seen quicksand, let alone died from it. And sure as I said that, somebody's going to say, well, I've seen quicksand. No, you haven't. It doesn't, it exists as much as Bigfoot does. But everybody has a plan for what to do in case they fall into quicksand. What did I miss? Yeah, that's right, Snarkus says. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't interact with anyone but the grocery clerks. I hear you. We grew up thinking we'd have to survive quicksand. Amen. I like this social media. I don't. If there were any other way, I would be doing it. Never run up on anyone, but I can't survive it. Yep. Everybody has a plan for what to do if they fall into quicksand. Grab a rope, lay flat, don't struggle. There's no such thing as quicksand. It doesn't exist. There is a thing called liquefaction where water gets into the ground and it causes things to sink. But that you have to be around a body of water for that to happen. You can't just walk out into the woods and find quicksand. Stumble onto it. Run around a corner and boof, you're in quicksand. It doesn't work that way. You know you're there. It's like a beach. You ever stand in the beach and your feet sink down in the dirt as the waves come and go? That's liquefaction at work. What could you do? Stop watching TV and believe in everything you see. That's what you could do. No one has ever survived a hail of bullets by jumping into a bathtub. Bathtubs are not bulletproof. Neither are kitchen tables. That's my point. Hollywood is full of tropes that are not realistic by any stretch of the imagination, yet they show it all the time. No one has ever been on a motorcycle and leaned down and picked something up off the ground while driving down the highway, yet you see it in every motorcycle movie. You can't do that. That's not how centrifugal force works. If you add sideways pressure, it goes that way. Yes, it will. A motorcycle will remain upright as long as you don't introduce any friction to it. There are not unlimited bullets in a gun. That's correct. You're absolutely right. So why do they do that? Can't they show something that looks realistic without breaking the laws of physics? Well, no, not if you want a good movie. No one's ever fallen off of a building and gotten up and got away from that. You know how in movies they always knock the guy out and he wakes up a couple minutes later tied to a chair or whatever? Do you know that every time you get knocked out, that's brain damage? Do you know that when you get hit in the back of the head with the barrel of a gun or the butt of a gun that you're most likely not going to wake up? That's not reality. Yeah, you can in Labyrinth, the land of the stench. So we're aware of the suspension of disbelief and of reality. Yes. The problem with that is when you grow up in inundating your brain with that sort of thing, pretty soon the suspension of disbelief just becomes belief. And that's why we have a lot of these people out there LARPing today, because they don't have any sense of gravitas, any sense of danger. They think they're doing something good. These people that run up on people and hit them in the back of the head with a bike lock, or burn down buildings because they disagree with somebody's political stance, they have no sense of reality. They think they're in a game. They think they're in a movie. They think they're the hero of their story. Everybody thinks they're the hero of their story to some degree, because that's the way the brain is wired. These people have turned it up to 11. That's what I'm saying. And it's because of the suspension of disbelief. That's the first thing that goes. All this to say that being famous ain't all it's cracked up to be. I made sure my kids understood that a baseball bat will more than likely kill someone. Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, there's a lot of parents out there that did not do that. They just plopped their kids down in front of a TV to keep them quiet and then went about their lives. Matter of fact, I'd say all of a generation millennials were that way. There is hope, though. Gen Z seems to be turning back against what millennials try to put in place. I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to get over it, but there is hope. There are some really smart kids being born and coming up in this newest generation that seem to be rejecting all of that nonsense. And I hope they do. I hope they get back to reality. I mean, it's not my world anymore. I'm already past my prime, so it's up to them. I fear for them. I fear for my kids, what they're going to have to endure. But when I was a child, I was taught to pick yourself up by your bootstraps, and that you're responsible for your actions, and do right to people and they'll do right back to you, and most of the time. But if they don't, then keep going, wipe them off and move on to somebody else. I was taught to value another life. I was taught to think before I speak. I was taught to try to do the right thing no matter what. A lot of the new kids have no idea what they were taught because they weren't taught anything. That's terrifying. How did that even happen? A lot of it has to do with social media. A lot of it has to do with this current culture of entertainment versus reality. A lot of it has to do with parents being overwhelmed and inflation going up and causing people to have two jobs and things like that to make ends meet, so they're not there with their children. A lot of it's a public school system. They spend more time with your kids than you do, and they're indoctrinating them against you the whole time. Trust me, that's true. They are not on your side. They are not teaching your kids social studies and math. They're teaching them ideologies that don't square with what you believe or what you would have your children taught. And then one day you wake up and they've turned against you and you don't know why. It's an age-old story. It's been happening forever. Every parent has a story like this. I'll tell you why. Because they were taught differently than you were teaching them. That's why. It's not your fault. It kind of is, because you should have seen that coming. But it kind of ain't, because what are you supposed to do? The law says they have to go to school, so you send them to school. You think that when you send them to school, they're getting a good education and they come home safely. You think that the government is protecting your kids while they're not in your care, and that they'll come home all right. And then you hear about school shootings and you think, well, how did that happen? I was a kid once. I carried a gun to school. You know what they did? Put that in the corner. Okay, put it in the corner. We had hunting classes in school. Nobody got shot. We had actual firearms at school and nobody got shot. When I was in ROTC, we carried real firearms. Loaded. Nobody got shot. And now all of a sudden, every year, there's 2 or 3 of them, school shootings. Why? Why does that happen? That's because of what's in here. It's the main programming that's messed up. The information is good. The internet is a good tool. You can use it to learn almost anything. Hell, every time I go to do something new, I go on YouTube and learn how to do it, and then I go do it. It's a beautiful tool, but it can also rot your brain from the inside out if you let it. A man can only see so many cat videos before he's crocheting, you know what I'm saying? Nature of the world. We all were taught that in our time growing up, and half of our kids, it is the grandkids that we need to toughen up. I concur that, Jake. Well, I don't think so. I'm more upset about the effed up math they are teaching. Amen, sister. A tool is only as good as its use. That's correct. It's awesome, Snark. You read my mind. You are correct. Yeah, now they're teaching that math is racist and colonial. Not when I was a kid, I was taught that math was a universal language and that everything was based on numbers. Everything. Today they're teaching that it's colonial, racist, and that 2 and 2 don't necessarily equal 4. We're just taught that it does. I can't get behind that. I've thought about it. I can't see it. No, they're not. No, they're not what? I don't know what you mean. No, they're not. They're not teaching math bad? I think they are. Who's been saying that? It's all over the place. History is where colonialism comes in to the lesson. Correct. You're right. But they're also saying that math is colonial in its nature, like it was pushed on people at some point. That's what they're trying to say. It doesn't make any sense, but that's what they're saying. Like when we build up countries or whatever, not mention the fact that's not how we got here, but that's what they're teaching. That the colonial people spread out and conquer, and that they meant to do that. I know it's silly, but it's true. It's not only silly, it's backwards. It's upside down. But that's the way the world is going. If you don't believe me, just wait a little longer. You'll see it. I promise. It's out there. Everything that you were taught as a child is being subverted now. Everything that you think you know is being flipped upside down now. And as we go along, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I never would have thought it had got this far. When I first started hearing about it was in the 90s. I was hearing about it on the college campuses because I was lucky enough to be in college at that time. And I would hear people talking about these things. And I thought, nobody's ever going to buy that. It's retarded. And I had dismissed it. So I wasn't part of that whole thing, you know. But I did hear about it. And now, 20 years later, it's happening. And it's in every facet of reality. It's made it all the way into Washington. It's in the White House, for God's sakes. This ideology, this way of thinking, it's not good. And it's not going to lead to anything good. I promise you that. And it's bigger than just CRT or whatever it is that they're teaching in school right now. I also have firsthand experience about that. About them turning your kids against you while you're at school, while they're at school. Trust me, it happens. I was an early adopter of it. Now it's happening everywhere. You hear about it almost every day. You watch the news, you'll hear about it. I'm confused? No, I'm not confused, honey. I'm not even that married to the idea, but I'm telling you, there's things going on. And it's not good for anybody. And I want the world to be good for everybody. I don't realistically think that's going to happen, but one could hope. Hope is all you got in the end. But no, I'm not confused. I may be a little one-sided, but not confused. If you think I am, give me some input as to what you think I'm confused about so we can discuss it, because I don't exactly know what you're referring to. I've said a lot of things in this podcast. Some of it I even believe. The only constant is change. That's correct. Change doesn't have to be bad, though. So far, everything I've heard you say that was an actual statement I've agreed with. So what am I confused about? I'm definitely interested. I think we kind of got off course a little bit, though, because it started out as a conversation about Hollywood, and it ended up being a conversation about everything that's wrong with the world. I guess you can't have one without the other. Okay. Well, if you decide to fill me in, I'm here. Anyway, one of my shows got moved. That wasn't exciting news. I was expecting to have that money this weekend. But I'm kind of glad too, because I'm a little tired. Oh, there we go. The whole math rant, well, it wasn't a rant, it was just a statement, is just silly. Yes, they are being taught that colonialism sucks. Colonialism. We weren't. No, we weren't. I didn't say we were. They are being taught that now. And the whole math thing, if you don't think that there's people out there trying to teach that 2 plus 2 equals 5, you are wrong, ma'am. There are people out there that actually think that. What they're trying to say is that nothing is constant, and it's racist to think that it is. That certain people can think about things in a different way. For example, multiples of 12. There are cultures that don't use the binaries that we use, or don't use the groups of 10 that we use, or that sort of thing. There's other cultures that think in numbers surrounding 12, and there's other people that think in numbers surrounding 24. Anyway, it all equals out to the same thing if you use actual math to figure it out. But they're trying to say that it's a different way of thinking. And by they, I mean whoever's promoting this idea. And it ain't my idea. I didn't make it up. I just repeated it. So don't think that I'm the one that's confused. I'm just repeating what I've heard. I have no actual experience. Nobody ever tried to teach me that 2 plus 2 equals 5, but I've heard they're doing it. And I have ample evidence that suggests they are. There's no CRT being taught in elementary school or high school. It's an advanced college level course. You keep on believing that. Tell my kids that. There is no course called CRT in elementary school. You're correct about that. The ideas that involve CRT are most certainly being taught in elementary and high school. More so in high school. I didn't have a problem with my children until they got to high school. It was relatively just like I remembered it being up until 6th grade. We use 10-based numbers. There are many number systems that have been used over history. That's correct. The conflation of that idea is where this other idea comes from. It's not correct thinking is my point. I'm not suggesting that math idea is correct. I'm suggesting there are people that think it is. And those people are silly. You are right about that. But if you don't think that it'll spread, you're wrong. It will spread. I call it a social contagion because it acts like a contagion. I've watched people lose their brains. I know people who were smart and then just lost their mind. Being aware of the tragedy that is our past isn't CRT. What tragedy are you referring to? Because I haven't referred to one. Critical race theory isn't about tragedy. It's a theory based on reality. It's an incorrect theory. It's poorly managed. It's wildly, inappropriately written. But I haven't referred to any such tragedy. In fact, I think you're talking about racism. I haven't referred to that at all. Other than people saying that math was racist. And they have said that. I've heard them say it. Knowing there are racists today is not CRT. Where are these racists, by the way? I hear people talking about them. I haven't experienced one in my personal life. Most of the people that I know, and I know a lot of people, are just trying to survive. They don't care a damn bit about what somebody's color is. Critical race theory is not about racism. Think about that for a minute. I'll wait. I'm surrounded by racists. Well, I'm sorry, honey. That's a bad place. Let me know if there's any way I can help you get out of there because you're in a bad spot. Here's the thing. There's a difference between racism and tribalism. I make a joke that I stole from another comedian occasionally, where I say I'm not a white supremacist, but I am a white enthusiast. It's a humorous joke. I don't mean that in sincerity. But what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with people wanting to stick with their kind. That's the nature of people. There's no harm in that. Hating somebody else for their kind, that's a different thing. That's where you go out of your way to present a feeling of yours onto somebody else's life. Not good. Doesn't matter if it's racist or otherwise. It's not good. You should have your own feelings. You should not push those feelings on other people. That's why I always preface anything I say, well, don't listen to anybody, not even me. I'm just a dude. Let me guide you, but go look for yourself. Find out. Find out if I'm telling you the truth or not. Don't listen to me, though. I'm just a person. There's nothing special about me. I have no reason to be up on a soapbox other than I've got a camera. Everybody's got one now, though, so that doesn't mean anything. But if you are surrounded by racists, my suggestion to you is get the hell out of there fast and move somewhere where there's not so many people that are stupid. I've even been called racist, and I'm the furthest thing from racist. I don't care what color you are. I hate everybody. So I don't like certain attitudes. I don't like certain ways of thought. I don't like certain behaviors. Not anything to do with color. By the way, not white, American Indian. So for whatever that means. Of course, when I was in high school, I tried to use that argument. The guy told me, if you're not black, you're white. So apparently I lose either way. But here's the thing. Racism is dumb. Well, we had all but eradicated that in the 80s. It came back in force because of people pushing race ideology. When I was a kid, the top 5 entertainers on television were black. Top 5, maybe even more. white kids were called wiggers. Do you remember that? Because they were dressing like black kids. And that was the norm. That was the way things were. Vanilla Ice came from that era. Think about that name, Vanilla Ice, rapper. So no, it was relegated to just about a joke. It was made fun of. Nobody took it seriously anymore. And then the world changed. Was it 9/11? No. I'll give you a hint. It had to do with race. The world changed when the world received its quote unquote first black president, whom everyone voted for, by the way, because they thought, wow, finally somebody with some sense. Nobody even considered that he was black to start with. I would have voted for Colin Powell. I didn't vote for Barack Obama because I didn't like him, but I would have voted for Colin Powell. That being said, now that I know what a pansy ass Colin Powell is, I've changed my mind about him. But back then I was all about Colin Powell because he seemed like a smart guy. Now, they just hid it better? No, I was there. It wasn't hiding. Until they saw our leaders were racist too. That's where the racism is, honey. That's where it stems from, our leaders. That's why it's back in society full force, because they pushed it. Go back and look. Go back and just read up on some of the things that happened after the election of Obama. And it may not even been him that did it. I don't know. But him being in the White House certainly caused a stir. And that racism came back out in full force. It was not there prior to him. I promise you, I was there and old enough to remember. It wasn't there. Not at least not where I was at. Now, it might have been somewhere else in the country, but not where I was at. It wasn't. I mean, just about every girl had a black boyfriend when I was growing up. I mean, I remember thinking, man, I ain't ever gonna find a girl. All these black guys keep sucking them up. So, it was a normal thing. Here you go. Here we are now hating each other again. It wasn't hate. It might have been an uncomfortable thing to talk about, but it wasn't hate. Now it's hate. Now we've got divided lines. I'm not sure that's good for the country. I'm not sure that's good for people. That old adage, can't we all just get along, stated by a black guy, by the way, is very apropos. I think maybe we should try to get along. Maybe we should start communicating, stop hating. I think that'd make a lot of difference. Of course, when I was a kid, there were all kinds of speakers coming to college campuses, both left and right, radical and intelligent. And we listened to them all, and we'd think, that's a good idea, or that's a bad idea, or we wouldn't listen and go somewhere else. Now, they get shut down if they're disagreed with. How is shutting conversation down going to cause anybody to think or come up with a rational idea? How is that going to educate anybody? It's not. It's designed to cause thinking to stop and just react emotionally. Thinking is the thing we need to be doing. More of it. More thinking. Geez, just got off some news. World is out of its mind. Yes, it is. And logic is no longer a rule. I agree with you. That's kind of what we're talking about tonight, MVTV. Or that's what I'm talking about. There may be other agendas at play here, but what my purpose of saying what I'm saying is that logic has lost its damn mind. And we need to rein it in, because if we don't, we're going to go crazy. And the world will cease to exist as we know it. And something else will happen, but it won't be what we tried to build, or what our grandparents tried to build, or what their parents tried to build. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, what say you? I'm as interested in what you have to say as in what I have to say. Snark has been keeping me on my toes all night, making some quite salient points. April, what'd you think? MVTV, what's on your mind? Kevin, say something. It has relatively been a lovely day. No rain today. It rained like hell yesterday, and I got caught in it. And my bike broke down. I had to stop at a convenience store to charge the battery for an hour in the rain. But we got her done. The whole world is crazy, says Laura. I agree with you, honey. That stuff we talk about on Sundays and Mondays, that's usually the case. It's usually talking about the world going crazy. It has been foretold. Nothing new under the sun, that's what they say. April agrees. Good to see you, MVTV Montana. The Montana Vigilante on TV. What I want to know is if you're actually on TV. Do you have a TV channel? Are you a news anchor or something? Never close to this in my life. Lots of whack. Yeah, but it's a flood of what the F. And hello, too. Yeah, there's a whole lot of what the hell, what the fuck, whatever you want to say. WTF. There's a whole lot of that. And it seems like it's getting worse. Every time I think they've reached the most ridiculous thing they can say, I hear them say something else. And then I'm thinking, well, I thought the other thing couldn't be outdone, but there you go. Nah, but the news part helps the mask. I got you. Hey, MVTV love, that's my buddy, says April. Well, here's what I think. I think if intellect doesn't take over soon, we're going to lose our grip on reality and go off into la la land. We might all be living in the metaverse before it's over with. Reports of baby formula shipped in mass to the border while moms here panic. You know, that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know that that's the case. I haven't heard anything about it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did it that. I know there's a baby formula shortage. I don't know why, and I don't know where it's going, and I don't know why we can't make it here. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did that. Hubs is calling. Talk to you later. See you later, Snarkin' Sass. Thanks for dropping by, and thanks for keeping me on my toes. Love to have a dissenting point every now and then. Yes, I saw that. Meanwhile, we're getting 40 billion. We're giving 40 billion away. We've given a lot more than 40 billion away. Whole lot more. That might be what we're giving away today. Oh, excuse me a minute. Don't blow your nose on camera, Jake. It's not professional. I'm not professional, so there you go. Ugh. Well, I've had a good time tonight. Hey, guys, won't you do me a favor and hit that like button? Smash it hard, smash it good. It helps the channel with the algorithms, and it takes no effort to do so. Just pop it one time for me. Smash that bell icon, hit subscribe. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me. Drink my Kool-Aid. Drink your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critically, that's what I want. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Be part of their problems. Or rather, be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. I'm losing my brain. I've talked too much. If you dig what I'm doing and you'd like to see me do more and you consider supporting this channel, I want you to go to paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand. Paypal.me/JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you too, because God notices these things. We do live in a reciprocal universe. And with that, I will round out this video by taking whatever questions and comments you may have. And I thank you for your support. And I will do everything in my power to be worthy of it. Commercial over. I don't know. That's my opinion. I don't care who hears it. Amen, sister. I don't know either. I'm just making observations. All I know is what I see before me. And I see a lot of things that I don't like. Dang, came in later than I thought. Well, we start at 8:30 on Monday through Friday and 8 o'clock on Sunday. But you can come in anytime you want to. I'm not going to leave just yet, though, so you got time. Kevin burned the lasagna in the oven. It's all good. Oh, Lord. Nothing stinks worse than burnt lasagna, I guess. But you can still eat the middle part. Just scrape off the black stuff and eat it anyway. Crispy lasagna is great. Amen. I was in a mood. I might have pissed some people off earlier. I apologize about that. Been in a mood all day, thinking about Hollywood and all that stuff. And I need something to talk about. So that's what it was today. It might be something next time, something else. Anyway, keeps the blood flowing. That's right. Or clogs up the arteries, one or the other. Yeah, I tried. I wasn't digging it. LOL. You wasn't digging what? You wasn't digging the conversation? What's the matter? World-changing events and domination due to ideology boring you? I don't want heartburn. Take some Tums. Drink some milk. Eat a half a tablespoon or teaspoon of baking powder. Wash it down with some water. I wasn't digging the lasagna, dork. Oh, okay. Just checking. I don't always see when the comment comes in compared to what's being said, so I have to guess. That particular time I guessed wrong, I see. I know. But you're not wrong. I am a dork. Dork, nerd, dingus, geek, whatever you want to call it. Something. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Lol. I'm trying to be funny. I guess I'm not. I'm with you. Look at a super remote cabin to retreat to. Middle of Custer National Forest. Hope it has internet. Ain't missing these in future. I'm a goober. It's all good, love. I hear you. Well, Custer National Forest is a beautiful place. Probably don't have internet there. Seems like anywhere you go that's beautiful, you don't have any connection. Might be a good thing that way. Might be why it's beautiful. Don't know. I always fantasize about having a town that has a big wall around it. And anybody's welcome to come to that town, But when they get to the gates, the wall is actually a Faraday cage that covers the whole town. And when they get to the gates, they have to surrender all of their electronic devices. And they can come in, but they only come in with their mind. That's it. So whatever happens in this town comes from here only. No TV, no radio, no music. I mean, you can have music, but it'd be live music. No phones, no internet. Just live like the 1800s. I bet you that'd be the happiest town in the country. Lowest amount of crime. See, one of the things that causes crime is excess. That guy's got more than I got. Pretty soon it starts wearing on me and I go take it from him. If everybody has whatever they can produce, then they start sharing it for some reason. I think that's interesting. Okay, thanks. Exciting search. Very true. If you can go out into the Grand Canyon and get the internet, it's possible anywhere as long as there is a tower nearby that ain't broke. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I know there's places in North Carolina where the signal drops off and you can't get a signal. Some of them are right close to where I live. There's a spot between here and Raleigh that there's no phone signal. I don't know why that is. It seems like it'd be everywhere by now. Satellite net is likely anywhere. Key is remote. No humans with a town within an hour. Road is supposedly a defense in itself. Interesting. I would like that to some degree. Of course, I'm hooked on the internet too, so I wouldn't want to live in that town. I just want to visit it. Stay there for a month or so and then get back to life because I want to check my email. Waiting for this for years. It's time. Do it, man. I believe in you. Make a life out there in the wilderness. Hunt and fish and grow a garden, that sort of thing. I got you, MBTV. You be safe, okay? Please keep weapons around you at all times. Just saying, love. It's always good to be armed. I'm armed. I got weapons nearby. Shh. Stay armed. The First Amendment is there so that people have the right to say whatever they want to say, to be whatever they want to be, to present themselves in whatever way they want to be presented. The Second Amendment is there just in case that first one doesn't work out. Thanks, Jake. You all have the coordinates. Got firepower and bullets. Amen. You guys are awesome. I've had a great time tonight sharing my conspiracy theories and whatnot. Don't believe a word of it, but look for yourself. And you tell me. I hope y'all have as much fun as I've had, and I hope you have a good night. I'm going to go to bed because I got to get up early in the morning and go set up a show. Have a great night. Thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor while you're out there in the world, take a little kindness with you and share it and watch it change your life from the inside out. I promise you it will. It'll make you a better person. It'll make the people around you better people by virtue. So sorry I was late. You post these later though, right? Good night, Jake, April, and well, they're on as soon as I go live. After that, I think it might take 30, 45 minutes for it to upload, and then it's there forever on my channel. So yeah, you can watch it anytime. But come in anytime you like or watch it posthumously or whatever. and leave me a comment. Let me know you were there. Have a great night, everybody, says Laura. We love you. Hit that bell. That's right. So you should get notifications when I'm coming on, which I usually do about an hour or 30 minutes before the show. Depends on how quick I get to it. Good night, everybody. I love you, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.